So, as a child, I have vivid memories of walking through the various video rental stores that my mom took me to when we decided we wanted to watch a movie. During these trips to the video store, oftentimes she'd be off picking out a movie for herself, and I'd wander around the movie store just kind of looking at different movie covers that would be on display in the movie store. And oftentimes I would end up wandering into the horror section, even though I was too young for my mom to, let me rent one of these horror movies. I would always find it entertaining to kind of sneak over there and take a look at the covers at least. And they always kind of piqued my curiosity. In one movie that I remember the cover of distinctly was FeardotCom. It has this distorted looking face of a woman on it, and it just really makes you wonder what this movie's about. This is in the days really before the internet had really took hold of being able to go and just watch a movie trailer or look up a movie review. So, oftentimes when you'd go to pick out a movie in the store, all you had to go off of was either someone recommending you to watch a movie or just what it looked like sitting there on the shelf. Decades later, I decided to sit down and finally watch this movie, Fear.com. Does it hold up to my crazy imagination as a child? Is it actually a scary movie? Is it worth watching? And the quick and easy answer is no. I do not recommend you watch this movie. But it does have some redeeming qualities. So let's go ahead and talk about it a bit. So this movie came out in 2002. It was directed by William Malone. I don't think there are any notable actors in it, so I'm not going to list them. Bit of a synopsis. The story follows two detectives, Mike Riley and Terry Houston, as they investigate some mysterious deaths. They eventually connect the deaths to a website called FeardotCom.com. Yep, that's actually what it's called. I guess we're in such an early age of the internet that people didn't really question that logic there. But anyway, after discovering that the deaths happen 48 hours after the victim visits the site, the two characters are sent on an adventure to solve the mystery. Yeah, overall, like I said, this was a pretty disappointing movie. My expectations going into this movie were pretty low, with IMDb having it rated at a 3 out of 10. And normally I kind of go off of IMDb to decide if I'm going to watch a movie. And that's probably why I haven't seen this movie until today, 2026. What is that? God damn, that's 24 years later. Holy shit. But anyway, the dialogue in Fear.com, it feels very disjointed. I mean, there's so many moments in this movie where the characters suddenly know a certain detail that they seemingly shouldn't, and just out of the blue. There's no explanation as to why, suddenly they know this piece of information. For example, towards the beginning, a victim is brought into the police department kicking and screaming with blood on their face, coming out of their eyes, out of their mouth. They don't speak English, so they can't directly ask them what's going on. They have to find someone who speaks German. As soon as this person comes up, Mike stands up and looks at this person and declares that they need a disease specialist to look into what type of disease this person has. Like, how do you know that this person has a disease? Like, are we not going to, sit this person down and kind of figure out what happened to their face? Did they get punched in a bar fight? I mean, why is the first thing you go to is this person has a disease? So I thought that was kind of weird. It's just one small example. Another example, without really giving any spoilers here, is there's a scene where Mike and another detective go out and check out the home of a victim. Mike ends up finding a seemingly dead person floating in a tub full of water and just immediately assumes that she's dead, right? He kind of puts his hand in the water, if I remember right, and it seems like he's going to start, check the pulse or, pull the head out of the water to see if, none of that. Just immediately assumes that the person is dead. And then out of nowhere, Terry shows up and tells him to not, it's something along the lines of don't touch that body, that person's been dead. Like, how do you know that? That Terry and his boy showed up to this apartment, not moments before for the seemingly first time. So if Mike and his partner showed up to investigate this place for the first time, and Terry's here suddenly saying that, acting like she's been here already, and that she has discovered that this victim is dead. Like, okay, so Terry, if you've been here already, why didn't you make anybody aware that there's a dead person in this? It's such a mess, man. It's honestly comical, some of the details that were left out in this movie. Yeah, there was so many moments like this in the film, which is weird, right? Because it kind of seemed like they were cutting certain things out of either the script or the movie itself to kind of cut down the runtime, which is odd because the movie is an hour and 41 minutes long, so it's already a pretty long movie. And there's so many other like just filler scenes in the movie that could have been cut out instead. So I kind of lean towards thinking it was just bad. It was just bad writing from the get-go. Like the details were never included to begin with. Another thing, the side characters were completely unbelievable, due mainly to their bad acting, but then also just from the bad writing. It's like there was a scene where Terry is called into a man's office. I think it's her boss. And the boss is looking out the window, kind of contemplating something. And I'm pretty sure Terry gets called in by the boss. Terry asks the man, "Do you need something?" And he replies with no. And then almost immediately says, "Yeah." So you called Terry into your office, and then when she asks if you need anything, you just say no? Like, what are we doing here? I could go on and on with examples, but I really don't want to look too deeply into this movie. It's just a bad movie. But as I mentioned before, there are some positive and redeeming qualities about this movie, so let's touch on those a bit. I did enjoy the cinematography. I thought the lighting really made for a creepy vibe, and the sets were very visually interesting. I know there was a cool little scene where the boss ends up going outside to try to like smoke a cigarette and clear his mind a bit, and just that whole scene where it's like the backdrop is like this industrial like machinery and stuff. I thought that looked really good. And then any scene where they're inside any of the apartments or whatever, I think those look really good. I think whoever was in charge of the cinematography just nailed it, which is a shame because the rest of the movie just is trash. It honestly, the look of this movie, it had, like, you could tell it was an early 2000s movie, but not in a bad way. It was more of like a nice nostalgic feeling. It kind of reminded me of the look of some of the early like Harry Potter movies, just other movies from that era, and I liked it. It's kind of gives off like a dreamy and mysterious vibe. There was also some creepy scenes in the movie, like one in particular that I can remember. One of the victims gets basically baited into this, I don't know what it was, the bad guy's lair, if it was like a warehouse or what. Gets baited into this guy's lair, and as she's walking in, like all these creepy like flashing lights are going off, and there's cameras recording her. The cinematography and like the set pieces and everything would create this cool creepy vibe to the movie. But then as soon as any of the characters would start talking, it would just take you out of it and ruin the whole vibe. And that happened, multiple times throughout the movie. Now, before I give my final rating of Fear.com, I briefly want to get into some spoilers. I wanted to talk about some more of the silly moments, I guess, of the movie, just because I thought they were funny to me. There was one moment inside. So it's when Terry finds out that they have to go and find the ghost lady to go kill her to end the curse. And they go to this warehouse where they find out her body is, or they're told that her body is. She goes there by herself, and And there's a homeless person inside this warehouse. So Terry talks to this homeless person. The homeless person doesn't really reply. Terry asks her where this body is. She points into this body of water that's kind of like flooded this warehouse. And so Terry, of course, immediately just dives into this stagnant body of water inside this warehouse to look for this body. And as she's swimming around all this like machinery, this rusty machinery with her eyes open, looking for this body, she comes across it and she's like jump scared, like super surprised that she found a body when that's exactly what she was looking for. And then so she pulls the body out of the water, sets it down, and she's exhausted, catching her breath from the swimming. And as she's laying there, she looks over to the body, and the body turns its head and looks at her. And her acting is just so one note and boring. She doesn't. There's like no reaction at all whatsoever to a dead body that you know for a fact is dead, right? It's been sitting down there for a long time. It's like decaying and shit. That just looked at you. It's never mentioned again in the movie or anything. It's just like, I think it's supposed to be like a jump scare, but it's not really that scary. And that's one thing that should have been cut right there. I just thought that was pretty funny. And then another small thing, the whole, like when a character would log on to FeardotCom.com, there would be like a whole montage of these creepy looking clips, kind of like, it gave me like the Ring kind of vibes, where, you know, The Ring was a PG-13 movie, so they had to create this creepy feeling without showing anything like gruesome or like anything super scary. And they did a very good job at that with that, you know, the Ring tape, where that was actually done very well. There was nothing shown there that was like by itself like super creepy, but the way it was shown to you, it ended up being very creepy. They tried to do this in this film whenever someone would log onto the website, but they just absolutely failed at doing this. Like, why couldn't, it's a rated R movie, so it's not like they're trying to avoid, you know, trying to get like a R rating. So I don't know why they didn't just show like footage of the bad guy, the doctor, like dissecting some of his victims or something like that, you know, something that could actually be creepy. Instead, they try to do this weird technique where they're showing like this door to a building, and they show this woman and like these knives popping up, and none of it ends up being creepy, and they end up just showing it over and over and over again. And I was just confused as to what they were going for there, or why they chose to do that. I didn't understand that. It would have been so much more effective if they had logged onto like a character logs onto the website, and then they click on like a live stream, and they can see like, oh, this doctor, you know, this is what he does. He dismembers people, whatever the fuck he does. But yeah, they failed there. That brought me out of the movie. Just being shown that over and over again, it got tiresome. But not to make this review too long, I think I've already spent more time on this review than this movie deserves. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Don't waste your time watching this movie. Between its bad writing and abysmal acting, missing details, the pretty cinematography, it's not enough to save this movie. It was fun to entertain the nostalgia of the early 2000s. You know, go back. It brought me back a little bit. But beyond that, I can't recommend this movie at all. I would give it a 3 out of 10. Once again, IMDb, I think, was spot on. But yeah, that's it. Final review, 3 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. My goal with this channel is to review as many horror movies as possible and kind of catalog them. So if you're interested in horror movies, I encourage you to stick around as I do so. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.